So when I first started teaching kids how to read, I actually made a huge mistake. I started off really strong. I was teaching them their letter sounds like a good teacher does. They knew all of their letter sounds. They knew that D says duh, and O says ah, and G says g. And then when we got to a word, they sounded out that word. They said d, ah, g. And they couldn't actually put those sounds together into a word. They just said d, ah, g, but they couldn't say dog. They wouldn't take that final step to take the sounds and put them together into a word. And instead, I just had a bunch of small children staring back at me silently. So anyway, that was a mistake that I will not repeat again because I did some research and I learned all about blending. And blending is the skill that I'm going to be teaching you about today. Let's get into it. So blending is the practice of putting the sounds of a word together to making a word. So without blending, a child might be able to look at this word and they might be able to say k, a, t. But then afterwards, they might just stare at you. They might just not know how to put those sounds together and that the word would say cat. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to model this for your child. You're going to start with simple words like cat, or maybe like dog or son. A good rule of thumb is to choose words that have a consonant and then a vowel and then a consonant. These are called CVC words and they're really simple words. So you're going to take your word that you've chosen and you're going to say the sounds really slowly. K, a, t. And then you're going to blend them together. K, a, t, cat. So when you're teaching your child to blend, you actually don't have to have a word in front of you. You can just use any word in your brain and just sound it out for your child. S, sun. And there you go. You've modeled to your child blending. You don't need to use a whiteboard. You don't need to have a book in front of you. You can just use your brain and you can just use your mouth. That's all you need. Okay, so now we're going to move on to guided practice. So this is where you're not just going to be blending them yourself, but you're actually going to be blending it along with your child. So you're going to take your word, and like I said before, you don't have to have a word in front of you. You can just use your mouth, but you would sound it out like this. You go d, ah, g. And instead of just sounding it out like that, you're going to give your child an opportunity to respond after each letter sound. So you go say duh, and then your child will say duh. And you'll say ah, and your child will say ah, and then g, and your child will say g. And then you'll blend it all together. D-og, dog. Okay, and that's it. That's the skill of blending. You can take this and actually practice it in a way that's like really fun and engaging. Maybe you can make it into a game where you try to blend as many sounds as you can in a certain amount of time, right? So maybe a big word list, and you have your child go through them and you time them and have a little competition like that. Another way you could do this is while you're reading a book during a read aloud or a bedtime, then you can stop at different points in the book. And I would tell your child beforehand so that they know to expect this, but you can stop and ask your child to blend the different words that are in the book. And this will help them to see that blending is something that good readers do all the time. So remember, patience and practice are key. So every child learns at their own pace, so keep the practice positive and encouraging. If you found this video helpful, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more tips. Happy reading, everyone.